Practice is a place where people come together, but they go home, they have gym time, they're working out, they're doing work on their own. And then it can be the same way with an organization, but you have to build it that way so that people have a common vision. There's a culture of that, and they understand the environment. There's a framework for it. And then I think the other part that makes it live and possible is the gamification. I already talked about serotonin and dopamine, how that comes into play, and using some of the game theory and some of the elements that are with gaming, which keeps people involved for hours and hours. I remember a study that they paid kids on the street. They found some kids on the street, and they do the double blind studies, and they try to work out conflicts, et cetera, to make sure that they're getting real information. And they paid these kids a certain amount per hour, something like $5 an hour, to kick a rock and keep the rock moving. And then they took a similar situation, but they added one thing to this group. The first group, some of the kids left before even being able to collect the money. The second group that they did one little thing. They set up goals on each end and didn't say play a game. They just said keep the rock moving. And the kids came up with their own game. It was similar to soccer, and they played for hours. And that's an example, adding gamification into the thing. It's a kind of a basic example, but it starts to paint a picture. There's another research experiment. It wasn't really an experiment, but some research, and it showed that in concentration camps, there was a particular country that would, to torture the prisoners, would make them dig a hole, and carry the sand and sandbags across the field and fill up a hole over there. And then they would have to empty that hole into the sandbags and bring it back across the field and put it in that one. They would do this all day, and some of the people lost their mind. So this is a point about not asking people to do things that you're not actually going to use. So there are elements there that we know that these things exist. And if you're not careful, organizations will fall into that because it's the shortcuts. This is why be, do, have is so important, and have, do, be leads to these shortcuts, and these shortcuts lead to things like having people fill sandbags for no reason. And then the next one over here, I'll put human needs.